So I get asked often how to test Webconverger, and the best way to do it, in my opinion, is to download VirtualBox 4.2 and above on your platform and create a virtual machine, which I've just done here, and make sure the storage device is pointing to the latest Webconverger, at the moment 15, and run it. So this is the boot menu. The boot menu is something you see only when you sort of boot from the installation media. And the options it gives you is a choice between an older kernel, the 486 kernel, and the newer kernel, the 686. Normally you want to use these bottom three options, and the live version is perfect for testing because it doesn't touch your hard drive, so it's good to test on your normal hardware that you might be deploying Webconverger onto. And languages, we have extensive language support. This is just to demonstrate just a few of them, and there's actually a lot more that we offer. And this is the way you install it onto a hard drive. But let's just go for the live version, and let's demonstrate what it does by default. So simply Webconverger boots with a simple progress bar, just to give you some indication where it is in the boot process. This background image, this Webconverger right here, that can be manipulated if you can, if you buy a subscription. But the boot process can't. So this is what it looks like when you boot Webconverger by default. It's pointing you to the configure web page. We have a backend system, which basically takes your machine identity and applies the configuration. And if it doesn't have a configuration, it by default points you to a form to fill it in, where you can create a configuration, and configurations need to be paid for. So you're thinking, oh, I can't do anything more than this, can I? But that's not quite true. You can go onto the URL bar and navigate to your desired web page and ensure it works, test the sound, test Flash, test PDF, and such and so forth. So you can test Webconverger, but these default settings are the tip of the iceberg of what Webconverger can offer. For example, if you go to the API sort of documentation, it sort of documents on this web page, webconverger.org/API, all the things you can do to sort of manipulate Webconverger to how you want it. And we have options to define the home page, define more than one home page, to change the artwork, to adjust the keyboard settings and language settings, to make it work with a proxy, to control the way the screen blanks and how it resets, how the screen is rotated, how the mouse pointer starts up initially, and such and so forth. What's probably most of interest to you is this bit here, the browser Chrome settings. This is a very popular adjustment to make. So by default, it's Chrome equals Webconverger. That's the default. You don't even have to specify it; it just comes up, and that's what it looks like. Is there a screenshot, and this is exactly the same setting, right? And then for subscriptions, what's very, very popular is the no address bar. This is good because it basically limits the users of your kiosk to a certain web page. There's no URL bar, so you can't go around, and then it's full screen. So let me demonstrate how you can test your settings, because when you purchase a subscription, you usually set up the configuration. You're probably thinking, well, what do I need to configure? Well, first off, you can just ask me or ask one of the team, and we'll set it up for you. Or you can sort of take these boot APIs and sort of try them here in this advanced form when you buy a subscription. But there's actually another way of doing it, and that is to shut down the virtual machine and specify them on the boot API, so you can test it from there. So you're probably thinking, whoa, if I can set up the machine on the boot API, then why do I need a subscription? Well, you need a subscription because it does that. Subscription sort of makes the machine, makes the your configuration download and applies it every time. You see, if you are specifying on the boot command line, as I'm doing, you would be doing it every single time. And it gets even harder if you use the install version, because the install version doesn't have this boot. So here we go. On the live version, I pressed tab and then I typed in homepage option and Chrome with WebC no address bar, and this will demonstrate to you you could replace that with your own homepage. So this demonstrates how you can sort of envision, to show someone Webconverger to your client or your boss, saying this is what it would look like, this is what it would look with no address bar. And of course there are far more options, especially to do with localization, but let's just go with this, just to give you an idea. A lot of people ask me again about changing these orange lines and having some sort of logo. The thing is, Webconverger clients that use Webconverger should not see Webconverger boot. So the only thing they should see is the background logo, which you can change between sessions. They should never see Webconverger boot. It always should just be ready for them when they do it. So now it's configured for my home page, as you can see. And now the UI is much simpler. There's just a sort of a home button, back, forwards, reload when you navigate away, and that's it. And that's simply how a lot of kiosks are set up. So hopefully this will be demonstrating your company webpage, and you'll be thinking, oh, very good. And that's when you would take the sewing configuration and take a subscription out with us. You don't have to use PayPal, you don't have to use the form, you can just contact us and give a list of your IDs, or we can create something for you that does it a little bit more automatically. But that's how it works.